Hello, everyone. This is the Connie and Lottie Real Estate Podcast in Anchorage, Alaska, covering the entire great state of Alaska, however, with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Alaska Realty. We have a special program for you today because Lottie Michael and her partner, Mike James, they've been partner for 25 years on a handshake, are going to discuss the future of commercial real estate in the state of Alaska. So stay tuned. Wanted to talk about today is where we anticipate the Alaska market to be for 26. We do this every year. This is the first year we've done it with a podcast, so that's going to be fun. We'll talk about all three of the major office classifications, Class A, Class B, and Class C. We'll touch on industrial space, medical, retail, and then retail is split with interior mall space, junior box, big box. So we'll kind of cover all of those different segments of the market.
Similar to office, retail isn't just one definition. It's a couple of ways that it fills out.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about office. Where do we see? We're going to start A? Class A?
Yeah, let's always the fun one.
All right. Class A office, in my opinion right now, is at about $285, $290 a foot. And that would be considered full service on a monthly basis.
And full service meaning you write one check and everything's taken care of. The electric bill, the heat, the snow plow, the landscaping every summer.
You pay for your telephone and your data. That's
right. That's right. And your cable. If you move in, you're going to do your own case. But all that's taken care of. It's on one bill. And yeah, as we look at, we've had some, we still have some open space here in our market with the inventory out there.
Yep.
So I'd say 275.
275. Okay, and these are effective rates. So this factors in some burn off of tenant improvements, burn off of free rents. So we're taking it down to effective rates. Okay, so somewhere in that range, 275 to 285. I think that's where it is too. Do you want to talk about next year? Or do you want to? Let's just keep going on where we are right now. Where, in your opinion, is Class B space?
So Class Bs are probably running 210 to 225, and that's kind of a wider gap. So I think when you look on some of the Class Bs, because we have, those are typically buildings that are less than 4 stories. Could be a 2-story office building, walk up, no elevator, to a little bit newer, but it's not essentially a Class A because maybe it's a 3-story office building. But yeah, I would say probably about 210 to 225 as you look at some of the lower to the, as a range to the lower line.
Right. And I would agree with that. I would lean more to 225, but I'm comfortable to say that that's where the market is today on Class B.
And that one's still going to typically be a full service lease with that one as well. But you won't have such of a large tenant improvement allowance. The buildings won't be as nice. You may not have the amenities of a gym or a common boardroom or some other things you might have as you would in A.
Okay, and then Class C.
It's a little bit wider, that gap.
Yeah, I think you can even get into Class C for $1.85 right now.
$1.50 to $1.85.
Yeah.
Because, we're going to have a 1-2-story office building, and it might be from 1978. But yeah, and then the locations, of course, makes a difference with that too. Because when I look at Class C up for a contractor, let's say they want more yard space and they want some, and they're going to be off the main road, typically on a side road. That comes in at like $1.25, but that's kind of skews it.
Yeah.
Trading just office space on that. And it's going to be people that are going to be, they don't need to be on Main and Main Street. They don't need to be,
they need easy in and out, easy access.
And they're, and cost effective.
Right. Well, but that kind of leads us into industrial.
Yep.
So let's talk about straight industrial, just warehouse. Now, there's always going to be some space, some office space that is incorporated in their industrial, but let's just talk about straight office, industrial.
So if you look at 21, 23 foot, we're talking about ceiling heights. You're going to have some warehouses out there that might only be 14 foot, and you got 16, 14 foot, and your door is 12 or 14 foot. Kind of limits what can go in, what can go into the building. If you want to work on a Caterpillar or a Volvo truck, you need to have some ceiling heights. You're looking at stacking boxes for your company and your distributor. You need volume. So these high cube. So we were looking at
cubic volume.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we look at let's say a 22 square foot.
And the trick with industrial is, we're not building a lot of industrial. So that's right. And
any new instruction has been pretty much because
owner user.
I've looked, I can't find what I need, and so I've gone out there and contracted to have a building built for me.
So
and that's a different number because that's there's a need for it and I can't fill it and I have to pay a premium for it.
So industrial space to lease, the ceilings of 18-foot minimum, 18-foot clear. And then typically on industrial, it's not a full service lease. You pay your gas and electric typically.
And you might even be paying property taxes. You could be paying building insurance because you're a single tenant building. Some of these warehouses are.
So I think
$1.35.
Yeah, I was going to go a little higher than that.
Hey, $1.35, $1.45. We did some offices last year at some warehouses that had some office, and we're running them up 55.
And the trick with it, or the interesting fact on industrial is usually you think, well, if you're renting more square feet, the price would come down. But industrial, it's almost the reverse because it's hard to find 10,000 square feet or 15,000 square feet. So it's almost the reverse. Would you agree with that?
You have to have sprinklers, and you think there's more of a infrastructure component. Sometimes, do I need a 5-ton crane? Do I need a sockeye door? There's overhead doors coming in.
Yeah.
Water separator. As you go through, we have drains in the floors. So there's sometimes surprising things you just wouldn't be paying attention to if I'm just an accountant renting an office space. And then yard space also is a part of that equation too, because if I'm renting a warehouse, it's not just having forklifts. I might have some trucks or some vans, containers I've brought in.
And now you're going to be priced separately on the yard space. But to find warehouse with yard space is a trick.
So that's where you're paying a little bit more.
Right.
Sometimes.
Okay. Medical.
Medical is
a fair amount of work with medical.
So you have medical and dental. And then if we look at the medical has expanded off of the campuses from the hospital to Providence and Alaska Regional. We've seen them in Midtown. We see them in Eagle River. We've seen them in Anchorage.
I think we were the first, or at least one of the first, to pull medical out of off the medical campuses and into Midtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Over at the 188.
Yep.
That was a Class A, actually a new truly Class A office building. And that was about 8,000 square feet on that one. And they were looking to have something where it was near the patients, near the people, instead of the patients having to come to them and go across, 5 acres of parking to get into the building. This one, they wanted to make it convenient where I'm on lunch. I can come see my physician and then get back to work.
Okay. So in medical, we've got some new stuff, and then we've got some aging product. If we were to have like a blended rate.
Which is ripe for development, too. You got some aging product. It's expensive to do medical because you've got a lot more drain lines. Every other room has an exam sink.
And we've got more power needs, too.
But it's a great, as you look at some of these older buildings, to be able to go through and do a redevelopment of them for a new use.
Right.
But we're looking on that one, 2.25
on old existing. If you wanted new space, you're going to be at least $4 a foot. Yeah, at least $4.
It's a rather wide range,
right? When
we're looking at that, just the cost to tenant build out. The landlord will do X amount for a vanilla shell. It's a tenant improvement allowance, but it's exponential for the tenant coming in, being the medical tenant. Having all the electricals, medical, graded electrical, all the drain lines that they need to put in, all the hallways have to be, 5 feet or more. So you're looking at wide.
And sometimes you've got more power, the electrical draw. Okay.
And then that kind of, and then the other thing too, actually, is we look at where medical's gone into office space off campus. It's also gone into retail. Providence Extended Express Care, as you look at Ticotnu, we've seen over there across the way in Bass Pro.
Right.
So you're seeing some of these urgent cares. More than just an urgent care. we've seen Providence Medicare in the old REI space, right on Northern Lights in Spenard. And so it's coming off.
And that's morphing too. It starts out as urgent care and then it turns into just
more specialized
or just straight out family practice. So yeah, that's morphed even since they opened it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what they originally planned.
Another way for turning that center around.
Yeah.
See, they look at a center that lost their anchor tenant and is now bringing probably the same amount of traffic, if not more, into that shopping center just to go see their general practitioner, which kind of rolls into retail.
Okay, so let's talk about retail. Let's break it down. Let's do strip centers. And I think that's a busy market, strip retail. So you'll see a strip retail with maybe 10,000 or 15,000 square feet of retail space on one floor. That's what we would consider a strip retail center. And they're all over this city, all over the state. So depending on, like you said earlier, location, it'll dictate pricing. But
yeah, so you look at some of the newer developments, probably $3 a foot. Plus you have a CAM. You're always going to charge you for every expense the landlord has to touch is going to be a proportionate share to what you are in that development. And you're going to have to feel that. And that's running between, 80 cents to $1 a square foot, probably, as you're looking on CAMs right now.
Yes, common area maintenance charges. But let's set that aside and talk about what the lease rates are.
Let's say $3.
A high of $3. But what you're talking about is new stuff. Newer stuff, and it's retail, and it's kind of in the shadow of large big box or large junior box.
The Targets.
Yeah. So it's not a standalone. It's not a retail with a Subway shop in there and a nail salon and, a dry cleaner. It's more of a, standing next to a big box retailer. So yeah, that would command that kind of a rent. Without that shadow.
And then how about Northern Lights strip retail?
Yeah.
With good, might be an older building, but it's got great visibility.
Good visibility.
Northern Lights, Benson, Minnesota, and you're probably $1.85 to $2.10 a foot, depending on the building.
Yeah, and I would say you could get more than $2.10. I think you could push $2.40. And again, that depends on who the existing tenants are. If you've got pull tabs, you might not get that kind of a rent.
Yes.
As your neighbor. But if you've got a high-end men's clothing store or
it could be like maybe it's men's medical spot.
Right. So then you're going to get, you could hope to achieve something more like $2.50 or $2.70 a foot. And interior retail, we don't have a whole lot to talk about there.
No, because you really have 3 malls. You've got the Diamond Center, you have the Midtown Mall, and University Center, but University Center's gone as far as the furniture mall.
I think you do I wouldn't consider that an interior mall because that's turning into a furniture mart. But you could do Simon's downtown, and I think those would be the interior malls. Northway, they've deconstructed it. The new owners have deconstructed it, so there is no more interior mall space. So of the 3 malls that we talked about,
downtown's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's the tough part is we all love downtown. I live downtown. You want to see it be successful, but some of your stores, it makes it more challenging when some of your big stores like a Nordstrom's leaves.
Right.
And the parking's always been, we got to make it so it's more convenient with parking because people have to pay to park versus it becoming the Midtown. That one, but it does have a lot of national anchors within that smaller.
Right. They're small.
When you look
at small retailers, but they're
Apple Store,
yep.
Lululemon, Michael Kors,
JCPenney.
Yeah. So it still is a draw, still has the demand for some stores you can't get elsewhere.
Right.
But if I compare that to Diamond Center, and then I compare that to Midtown.
And even in all the locations within a specific shopping center are not created equal.
If you're like the upstairs in the bottom of where
exactly.
the shoe store is at the bottom of the Simon Mall.
Yeah. Contrast that to be right next to the Apple Store.
Right.
And then again, it's whatever you're selling.
Which you're right. So you're going to have ranges
Right.
$2 to $4.
Right.
And
So it sounds like it's all over the place, but there's a lot of variables there.
12 months, Alaska's on the White House's radar. Federal, as far as the federal government,
All good news right now.
it's all good. It's all good news. The only thing is what hits us nationally, food, gasoline. Alaska always seems to pay a little bit more than you look at Seattle and Portland. So as any new construction, tariffs are going to hit when you look at cost of steel, wood coming in, things like that. If we keep just existing,
I don't think we have any vacant space that's being, the tenants have left basically, but are still paying. I don't know that we have any space that needs to be backfilled. I mean, what we have empty, you can see is empty now.
yeah, we go down Northway Mall,
Yeah.
and that's kind of more it's an I-1 zoning there, so they've been targeting industrial users as well, more than just retail.
That type of retail, kind of pseudo retail, pseudo industrial, I think that's $1.70 to.
You're lower, a lot lower. I mean, right now you're $1.25 probably for some of these spaces. As you look where we see 80,000 square feet of Burlington.
Yeah.
That's sitting there. It is an expensive renovation for a landlord. Having another store that comes in there that's got.
What's on the market? What is that on the market at? That 80,000.
I believe it's about $1.25.
Yeah.
Off my head.
But that's 80,000 square feet too.
Yeah, and so that only
And
has
the trick
one.
with that is,
That only has one dock high.
and there's challenges because the space might be really deep. It might be difficult to demise.
But with that one, let's say 80,000, you broke it down into 4. So 20,000 square footers, you have to put in 3 more overhead doors. You have to put in 3 more interior walls.
And I'm not sure if that'll work because of the depth of on that site specific.
Well, they did it with the old.
Well, we put half of those tenants in there.
I know they cut the nose off. I mean, you can make it work, but what am I trying to think? Kmart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the old Kmart. It was too deep. And they actually had to cut that back when Hawkins came in to redevelop that site, and you had the Petco and the Sportsman's Warehouse and the Michaels. And that might be something they have to do here on Diamond, but it is where that cost will go, it's $1.25, let's say $1.10 for the entire space as is. But if you want 20,000 square feet of that, there's real expenses for utilities that have to get split. You have to get UHVAC. Every warranties that a tenant's going to want coming in there. So now, we start getting up to $1.50, $1.75 a square foot.
What did I say a few minutes ago? She isn't genius. Okay, let's talk. That's where we think retail is going to be. Where do you think retail is going to be for strip centers? I think that's going to be worth more. I think that's going to be a higher number than it is today.
They're creeping up. Because where we were seeing them at $1.65 historically, $1.85, or now $1.85 to $2.20.
Yep.
And so you're seeing that creep because they're getting filled in.
Right.
These strip centers, the inventory is getting less and less.
And we're not putting any new product on the market.
No, there is no.
Yeah.
Right. There is no new.
So do we have any new medical coming out of the ground right now?
In Eagle River, OPA is building on leased land there that Occlude owns off the exit.
And that bedroom community is really active. We did beautiful. Yeah, we did a beautiful medical building there, and then we did some backfilling on an older medical facility. We backfilled it for the docs that own it.
So Eagle River Medical Plaza, we have Imaging Associates is in there as a major tenant, and Providence is in there as a major tenant, and Katmai.
Katmai Oncology
has changed the just the quality of living for people that live in Eagle River. You don't have to spend 20 minutes coming into town on a day, especially on a day like today.
And I think those rates are going to be around.
Right there. Well, that's essentially new construction because that was.
Well, yes, but I mean, what do you think it's going to be in 26? That's my question.
Well, thanks, man. That's not going to.
I think it's going to be about $3.25, $3.50 for medical not out there. Medical, not on campus.
Yeah, I think part of it is going to be the delay time. Trying to get certain components. We're seeing the cost with tariffs and things, and then also the lead time trying to get things taken. So I get, where it's an 8-month maybe build out for medical.
Might be a little longer.
The landlord's going to want, that's going to have to reflect in the rent.
Yeah.
The landlord's going to want to see increases in rent to be able to justify doing some of these deals where your increased cost, whether it's the upfront cost or it's taking time to start collecting rent. But yeah, no, I think you're probably about right.
And industrial, I don't know of any new industrial coming on the market that's of any size, of any scale. Those garage towns, they are being absorbed. There's not that many left.
That's also like.
That's not that wouldn't be considered industrial because you can't work out of it. It's more just.
Some of them they could do a little bit, but it's not.
No.
It's not a business type where I would see that it's only old business because you've got a mix of be using.
For garage towns, you can't put your plumbing business in there.
But I see where you got some of the warehouses down Ship Creek. Usually, there's always some inventory down there. It's aged.
It's very old.
You also have to worry.
Still on leased ground.
It's all the contamination has out a little bit longer, but it's contamination you have to worry about. I want to take this wall down right here, and now it's full of asbestos, and it winds up costing me a lot more to renovate a place than I was expecting. But as you look at mastic on the floor with tiles, and it's just little surprises that could really come and bite you later on. It could be in the roof. So just trying to do a remodel or repairs could be very expensive on some.
And then railroad it's got its own challenges. You want it or you don't. It's like the airport.
Well, part of it is the ingress egress can get difficult. They call it the hole. And it's tough for sometimes the truckers. I mean, that's where everything's coming in off the port. But to go to South Anchorage, you got to drive through downtown. A lot of lights.
So we think industrial, in our opinion now, the range is $1.35 to $1.45. I think it's going to be a little bit high. I would add a nickel or a dime to that for 26.
And that has nothing to do if we get a fill up. Yeah, that's without an LNG pipeline.
No,
none of it. Everything goes out the window at that point. But no,
that's right. I'm not predicating any of that on this.
But inventory still clearly tight. There's a couple warehouses out there for sale. There's one South Anchorage that's going to be probably some new construction.
Oh yes, yeah.
I know of. So, and that's another one where it's a specialized. Couldn't find what they needed, so they're going to go through just build. But
which will put an older property on the market. Okay. Class C. In our opinion, we're guessing.
So probably about the same, not too much. And it's
right.
Kind of a wide range. Like we said in Class C's,
I think all of the offices are going to be about the same as what they are. I don't see them appreciating a whole lot more.
We have some musical chairs, office spaces, relocating. We just, residential mortgage, I know, is vacating here on C Street in front of Walmart across the North Rim.
They're there.
And they're going up big over to JL Tower.
Yeah. It's a beautiful building.
28,000 to 20,000 square feet.
But the building they're vacating is a beautiful building.
Yeah. But they're going to, if you think about that, they're taking off 20%.
Yeah. Right size.
They're right sizing or they're being more efficient with their space. Sometimes you walk into these buildings and it's this gorgeous atrium. But at the end of the day,
you're paying
a percentage of that atrium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and kind of off topic, but please pay attention because we're going to be having a podcast talking about right sizing and all of the steps you need to do to get your business ready to be right sized. And it is a nice book. Okay, what else? What are we missing?
Class A industrial retail. We did not talk about, as far as the big boxes. One thing is, part of the issue on the retail is South Anchorage, where are you going to go? We talked about where all Burlington was before, but there's a lot of money has to go into that building.
Which is southwest Anchorage. And, some of that's kind of at the end of the cul-de-sac. So,
but if you're a Macy's that wants to come in, some of the other stores that we don't have now, like Ann Taylor and some things, I know they just got down in Diamond Center, but there's, being 40,000 square feet of Diamond Center, but on the backside of the building.
Yeah.
Trying to find some good quality, good visibility retail really isn't there right now.
No.
We've got space in the Bed Bath & Beyond used to be now with Party City and where the Bass Pro is down there. And that's got challenges, and it's also ingress egress. It looks good from driving by, but you're going to come around to get inside to their demographic.
You're driving by at 65 miles an hour too. So,
but it is a hard part when we have new tenants looking at Alaska. Where are they going to go? And that comes back to ground up again.
Right. And that is kind of the good news. We working with several new retailers that are considering moving into the Alaska market, both some expansion into the market, but some new to the market. So, we're still bullish on the Alaska market.
And it is, lower 48 is. Yeah, they're bullish on us wanting to come.
Yeah.
And that's what's nice is new blood. All of a sudden, that means you've got more people working in the store, another manager. We got truck drivers. We've got new buildings being built or renovated for construction. That's what's nice is that they're being able to see that there is value in Alaska.
Okay, so thanks for tuning in to us today. Robert sent in a question asking for a little bit more definition or clarification on certificate of need when we were here last talking about medical. So you want to field that one?
Yeah, so the CON or certificate of need is essentially a license by the state of Alaska to allow you to operate a business in the medical industry for certain fields.
The business of surgery.
That's right. Well, or it could be more than just surgery. It could be dialysis. So there's certain areas, specialties that you have to apply. Kind of like you have to get a liquor license if you want to sell a bottle of beer or wine at a store or be in a restaurant and offer it. So, and on the medical side, there's some large, heavy inputs for capital, and they want to, essentially, you're looking to protect the industry so you don't have a lot of money comes in, and then all of a sudden, nobody can afford to be a business, and it can all implode. So you'll see that.
That's the need, the name, certificate of need. You have to prove that there is
a need for beyond than what's already there.
Right.
So let's say hospitals. Another one is we look at small surgery centers. As you see, ambulatory surgery centers, they'll have to go through, and it could be something as maybe you just do knees or you do shoulders, or I've got something where it's like I said, a dialysis. So they're going to go through, and you have to have a certain level of about $1.5 million is the cap. You can go build that. You can go build out the infrastructure needed for that medical clinic, but you cannot go over $1.5 million. If you do, then you have to apply to the state of Alaska Department of Health for a certificate of need and go through the entire process to prove it. And once you do, all your competitors will, of course, say, well, we can cover it and say that the need is not there. And that's where, if you're able to get granted a license, then you can build it at any cost, and you can even relocate it if you want to. But the hard part is having to prove that need.
Yeah.
And, where they used to be able to do it under that ceiling of $1.5 million, and that was about 20 years ago when that number came out, and they've never inflation proofed it. So it's almost,
that money would be gone immediately on a surgery center.
It's not even.
Yeah.
It's not a real number anymore. When you look at air handling, the cost of materials that you need, medical grade flooring, just
generator, yeah.
So it's one where on a certificate of need is it's a protected field, and it's one that as you look at, you're not going to have it's a protected field, and it's challenging to get into. So that's what we would say is, it's near impossible. That's what I would say, until there's a change with the state on that number.
But good question, Robert. Appreciate you taking time to send it in. All right. Stay tuned. Next podcast, we're going to talk about getting ready, all the moving parts to right size your business. All right. Thanks, everyone.